Hello.
Hello, Glen.
Hi. How's it going?
You would even, man.
Hey?
Something happened to me, man. But it's not. It's like something personal. Like
It's like what?
Something happened to me a couple of days ago. I think I got some type of infection.
Yeah.
From going in I guess.
Not swine flu.
No. Not that one. I think it's pretty highly contagious. You ever heard of scabies?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I caught that. Now I have to buy some lotion. And I don't have insurance, so it's like this whole.
Yeah.
And I don't have any money. It sucks. Huh. But
What was her name?
What was her name?
Yeah.
No. It wasn't a STD or anything. It was because I went in a steam room,
yeah.
and I guess from like laying down, on the tile, like I guess from other people, I probably caught it in there.
Yeah.
So my back started itching, and I realized I had like these little mosquito bites. And I looked it up. It's like these little mites that just burrow into your skin and stuff. But that's my little problem.
It's like the guy that goes to the doctors and he caught a venereal disease, and he tells the doctor, I caught it off the toilet seat. The doctor says, that's a hell of a place to bring a woman.
Yeah, I'm just. It's just such a, when you look at these medical industries, how much money they can. Sometimes I think like these little diseases are like made for people to catch, just so it could make the industry.
Sure, just to make life difficult.
Yeah. Because I heard there's plenty of money off of other people's misery. But.
Hey, think of how much money is spent on aspirin.
Yeah. And it's owned by Bayer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Meyer family.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I noticed. Checked my email. You sent me an email. Advantage Kealey.
Advantage Kealey. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that person that I guess you guys had a disagreement or something.
They just are doing their job, and their job is try to attack people who don't agree with the system. I just ignore them. And I say, you can say all you want, do whatever you want. It doesn't affect me one bit. But I have a big advantage because everybody knows the story. They don't need me to tell them the story. They know it. They just didn't know what it was called or what words to attach to it.
Yeah, that's what I thought with the whole, reality, putting it into words. That was true, but I think this one particular person, his name is Matt.
Matterick.
Yeah, and I don't think he's a Mason or anything.
Hey, his name is the same as Alan Watt. M-A-T-T. W-A-T-T. Both of them are basically copied off of the word MIT, which is the system's way of controlling while on Earth is everybody's inside a single control mechanism with the thumb being by itself. And when they go out into space, that system has to change. So we are in the process of transition from the mitt to the glove.
Yeah, I know, but do you think, because look at my name. My name has Masonic,
Yeah, but you don't attack people. Look, if I disagree with someone, do I even talk to them? Do I call them up?
Yeah.
No, I ignore them. So somebody that goes out of his way to call somebody they disagree with, pretend they're on his side, and then attack them, they're in the system. They're doing it for a reason which is what they believe beneficial to them. They're not doing it to help people. Alan Watt isn't doing this to make you happy.
Yeah.
He's doing it to make money.
Yeah.
And some people do it to make money, and some people do it to get power within a system. Hey, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
They can go ahead and do whatever they want. Mm-hmm. Doesn't affect me. No, I know where I'm going for eternity. They need to find out where they're going in this life.
And that's what he's doing. Like that, because I emailed him, and he felt hurt because like you condemned him to the basalt mines or something like that, and he felt hurt from it because he's really just things that he didn't understand. I told him myself that I went through that same process. Like with things with you, I didn't understand. Yeah. I didn't attack you over. I just like slowly over time, and just things started coming together in my personal life, and it was pretty like upsetting, but I wasn't attacking anybody. But I wouldn't have went about it, I guess, in that manner.
Well, that's a lesson he needs to learn.
And I think he took it personally when you said something about the Swedes and the way you broke down his name. And I said, to me personally, you could break down like my nationality, but I'm not connected in the way most people are to like their nationality or their name.
I have a name too. I'm the key to the why. Well, a lot of people could say that puts you on their side. Of course they made me. Yeah. They had my DNA. They made me. Yeah. But in there, creation snuck in a little bit of recessive material. And it woke me up. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. So, some people need to learn interpersonal skills. Mm-hmm. I've had to tell that to a number of people. If you want something from someone, and that involves communications between the two, mm-hmm. you don't attack them. I don't want communications with people. I attack them so they leave me alone. Oh. Yeah. It's a filter mechanism that you build mm-hmm. around to find out who's got a functioning brain and who's still dealing with childish activity. Yeah. I don't attack the people that I'm against by calling them up. But if they call me, mm-hmm. I will tell them to their face what I think of them. Yeah. I told the Prime Minister of Canada one day on the steps of Parliament Hill, mm-hmm. there's only two powerful people in the whole world. You, because you've got control. Me, because I don't. I have nothing to lose. I can say it exactly the way it is. Yeah. And you're a crook, Brian. You're a crook. Yeah.
Well, I guess that's the part of the reason why we're in the mess we're in, because everybody feels they have something to lose. But I think what they think is something to lose is something really materialistic and not really... doesn't really matter.
They're afraid to lose people's support at the expense of being on the side that's wrong. That's what's so stupid about it. Mm-hmm. When somebody says to me, you're wrong, mm-hmm. I say, how? Mm-hmm. What information do you have that would make me change my mind? Mm-hmm. And if you don't have any information, well, tough bunnies. I ain't interested in speaking with you, period. Yeah. Have a good day. Goodbye.
Yeah. Yeah, some people, like, I have a friend who's trying to understand, like, the Desdemona typhon and how, like, when you break it down to him. But to me, like for me, the Desdemona type font is like just one of the many ways of breaking down words, because you also use phonetics and etymology and root words, and that's like other fields of study. So I don't think you don't just use the Desdemona.
No, I told as many people who wanted to hear, Desdemona provided a premise.
Yep, it found the groundwork, and off of that you...
And from the premise, you go back to your book of life, your own life.
Yeah.
What evidence have I seen along the way? And then with the premise, you can go look at it through pictographic methods, through phonetic methods of speaking, through the breakdown of language. Every which way you can get to use the premise. If it all comes out saying, yeah, it fits. Yeah, it fits.
Yeah, you can say, yeah, it fits in so many ways.
You know, it's called preponderance of circumstantial evidence. We don't get direct evidence. We weren't there 60,000 years ago and have a memory of each activity. If we were there, we left there with a package of the big picture. And we arrive now able to go to intuition and see a big picture. But you're not there to see every minute of every day what everybody was doing. So,
I think you said in that post too, you said the gut feeling, and that's what really kind of when I'm researching.
Well, a gut feeling is really feeling the spine through the belly instead of out the shorter distance through the back.
Yeah, and that's what I usually have. But something like that, like sometimes I feel funny. Like it's not something I can just somebody who's just totally because the way they're trained and looking at things, they're just logical thinking. You can't tell them that. It's like telling me saw a ghost or something. It's just they don't want to. It's not logical.
I am not ever again going to sit down and discuss things with people in a tavern.
Yeah.
Because they're drunk.
Yeah.
And I did that for many years when I was young. But
I can't do that.
I'm not going to do it again. And now I have a comprehension that people can be drunk without taking alcohol. That they can be drunk on other things, other spirits, spiritual stuff.
Yeah, like religion, politics.
Yeah. So I'm not going to have a discussion with them as if their point of view is valid. I'm going to tell them as straight out as I can that I don't believe a word they're saying, and don't bother me no more. Go tell somebody else your fairy tale. Period.
Wow.
I don't have any time left, you know. I'm 68 years old, going on 69, and I don't have time to play child's play.
That's what I told my friend. I told him, yeah, man, he's running out of time, and that's why he's kind of impatient. Things like that. So.
I mean, I have no problems with people who want to disagree with me. Just don't take up my time.
Yeah. I think you did all that, like in a newspaper. You had episodes where you discussed Christianity with people and they disagree with them, and
yeah, I mean, I've been through all that. There's a point at which, repetition is not fun.
Yeah.
And there's so many other things to do when you're searching for functioning brains. Do you really want to take the little time you have to waste it on somebody who's transubstantiated?
No.
Who's inebriated
It's a waste of time. You know, I just, you know,
I don't argue with cops on the street, and I think what they do is just tax collecting. You know, I tell them in court, when we're in court, and I say, you know, you guys should be ashamed of yourselves. And I've had a number of policemen coming up to me and say, yeah, Mr. Kealey, we know what you say is right. Politicians are crooks. But we got a job, and we got a family to raise.
That's what they said at the Nuremberg trials. We have it's my job. People, cowards love hiding behind that job thing.
I say, if everybody says the same thing, who's going to solve the problem? You know? That's why we're in the mess we're in. Yeah. Took 60,000 years to get us here, and you guys are saying, well, I got a job to do, and I need to pay the mortgage. And, Stop doing it, you stupid bastard. You're damning your children before you even put them out to pasture. You know, on their own. They're going to be invalids for all intents and purposes because you pass on some stupid story about a guy dying for them on a cross.
Or a guy, or Muhammad, or whoever. Over and over again. How do you feel about like people like atheists and stuff like that?
As long as they believe what they want to believe, and they don't try to convince me that I'm wrong, I don't care. I didn't come here to save them. I came here to save me. And I have to do it on a regular basis. I don't know why they chose me to do it with, but they do. So that's my job. And when I've got me settled, then I say, well, before I leave, if anybody else wants to hear a shortcut to the mess we're in, you know, how to get out of it, here it is. Take it or leave it. It's not going to affect where I'm going. It's going to affect where you're going. But I'm known for being direct.
Yeah, you said you're not a gentleman.
No. Gentlemen and me don't get along. You know, I was raised as genetic material to be passionate about what I do. And passionate is not something you can pull out of a drawer and use when you want it and put it back when you don't. The reason I went from being a guy in a middle-class home to a guy who became the top salesman of a worldwide company for a period of 4 years running, the youngest and top sales manager, and eventually running a business of my own, and ending up as the president of a $160 million development, is because I'm passionate and I do it my way. I don't allow people to cause me to compromise. I could be a bureaucrat working in a government office. You go home at 5 o'clock at night and do what everybody else does and hope to have a pension when I retire. No. What I said is, hey, there's a $160 million development. I'll close it. I'll stop it. I'll sleep on a park bench if I have to. That's all. And I did. Close it down. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. And I went to Parliament Hill. I didn't go and hide behind an internet system and pretend I was somebody else. What I did is I went to the Parliament buildings in Ottawa, and I stood out there for 1,000 days, and I told everybody that came to Ottawa for the changing of the guard and everything, I said, you're missing the point. Democracy is not soldiers playing around out on the lawn and showing you how the sergeant can yell louder than me. That's not what democracy is all about. Democracy is each individual fighting against politicians who want to sell us out, who want to steal from us, who want to take our birthright as their own. That's what democracy is about. And I'd see teachers with a class of young students in the 10 to 15 years of age range see me standing on Parliament Hill and cross over to the other sidewalk so they wouldn't have to explain what I was doing to the kids.
Oh.
You know? And I would tell them that that's a shame. You're taking the trouble of bringing kids from all over the country, thousands of miles away sometimes. And you're here to teach them about democracy, and what you want them to see is statues. Statues out on the lawn that pigeons shit on. You know? Yeah. That's not democracy. Democracy is people. Not as a group, as individuals. Every human being has fundamental rights before they're born.
Well, democracy to me, because we were taught in America, us is a republic and democratic republic. Now it's just a to me, democracy is what they're doing in the Middle East, bombing the crap out of it. Because I think I told you this before. Like in Plato, he said himself, democracy always ends up in tyranny. I think any form of how they run government is just corrupt. And
there's three ways to run government. Mm-hmm. You can run it through a military, which is called fascism. Mm-hmm. You can run it through a bureaucracy, which is called communism. Mm-hmm. And you can run it through the media, which is called democracy. Mm. None of them should be running the government. The people should be running the government. And therefore, there's a need for a system. Mm-hmm. The technology now exists to allow individuals to be individuals and not members of a party. You know, we should be voting on issues, and we should be educated on the issues. Using the button on our TV, we should be able to go and find out what people are saying in different parts of the world, not what the media says they're saying. Mm-hmm. We should be able to hear both sides of all discussions, and sometimes 3 and 4 and 5 sides to a discussion. Not the media sitting in the middle, having one guy say, "Oh, it's all about evolution." No, it's all about creation from the other side. And the media says, "Which one do you believe?" You know?
I really don't think that like we should have like centralized control, because when it's all centralized, it's just easier to fit into fewer hands than if it was like really by the people, you know, like the clan structure, right? I'm sure the clan structure was just all different, like little clans around the whole, you know, the land, but they weren't centralized.
It was the clan mothers who would come out at night, sit around the fire, mm-hmm. and say, "Anybody got complaints that we need to deal with?" Mm-hmm. And anybody who had a complaint would say, "I got a problem, and I think there's a solution here." And the clan mothers would say, "Well, what does everybody think?" You know, yeah. Well, that's how they settled the problem.
And that was
another person would raise the hand and say, "I don't really have a problem, but I have a suggestion. I think we could improve things if so and so." "Ah, that's interesting. What does everybody think?" "Yeah, okay." Mm-hmm. You like it? "No." "Okay, well, sorry, friend, they don't seem to think that it's the answer to the problem what you're suggesting, but thank you for the suggestion, and try again another time." Mm. That's democracy. Mm. Not how much money you're going to give to a political party. How much control will the political party have over your unit of political power?
Yeah.
Do they shunt you aside and make up their own minds? I mean, you're seeing it happen every day. The shift in Obama from what he used to say.
I knew this before.
Yeah.
He even. So I knew this, but years ago. I knew I seen it all happen. I seen it was all a fraud, and I'm just like, wow. And then they said, oh, okay, Obama's running for president. I knew it was all crap. You see what the guy's a CFO. His wife is president or president of the Chicago branch, and nobody wonders who he's CFO. Like, you know, some people do, but most people they don't. This is a non-governmental organization that calls the shots, basically.
You know, they're not making the decisions. They're following instructions.
Yeah.
So which one is there is irrelevant. Mm-hmm. The person that's there at the moment has to follow the instructions given to them, or they're murdered. Yeah. Period.
Yep. And I tell them, they're like, oh, you know, he's doing a lot. You know, he did so much in all these short time, and I don't know. I don't talk to I can't talk to transubstantiated people. I can't do it. And I have to walk out the room or something.
Yeah, that's what you have to do. In the end, you have to say you have the right to your own opinion, but you don't have the right to your own facts.
Yeah.
So I wish you luck. Have a good day, but just don't take up any of my time. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah.
Then you go and you search out, is there still a functioning brain out there?
Yeah, I find them. Yeah.
You got to find them. Bring them together and let them speak their will as a critical mass should. And no critical mass could survive.
Well, I'm fine. You know, I can't find. I don't know about 12 because like everybody who's of like mind to me, they're all, you know, at the stage where they're just trying to learn, I guess, what you know, and
we basically hope we're giving them a jump start, because obviously starting to grasp these concepts at 58 years old leaves too little time, and we need to have a group of people who start to grasp the concepts more at around 25 to 30 years old, so that they have more time in their own life to basically check out what they feel and what they see. One life isn't long enough the way it's designed now. That's why they keep sending me back over and over again.
But you think how you came back over and over again, you think that was the creation that did that?
Creation made me in the first place. Creator stole my DNA. Creator put it in a bottle, and Creator inserted it in an egg shell that was from a human and sent me out to be born. This happened a number of times. However, obviously, the last time, somebody didn't wash out the shell properly, and there was still some original matter from creation in there. It's a little bit, Jared, something like the making of a pearl. You have two kinds of pearls. You have the pearl that is the result of an irritant going into an oyster, and the pearl responding by creating a boundary around it so that it doesn't infect the rest of the oyster. and that pearl is made by natural means. Then you have the unnatural means of raising oysters to make pearls. So you induce the things to happen. You insert the irritant.
Yeah.
But there's a third way, which is not discussed often, but is known by the system, and it's called mother of pearl. Mother of pearl is when an irritant enters into the oyster, but does not sit in the middle, is stuck to the wall, is stuck to the oyster shell itself. And therefore, the oyster cannot evict it. It's there. It's stuck forever on the wall because it gets cemented in. Because the wall, in this case, is the original creation. I'm stuck to the wall of creation. I am part of the oysters that come and go, but I don't come and go. I just keep returning. I am not sent down and recombined after each visit. I'm there, period. And I have to do the same job over and over again. Observe, analyze, conclude. And I add a fourth part. Don't take shit from people who have no friggin' idea what's really going on.
Yeah.
You know? So that's my personal vendetta that I carried with me from generation to generation. And it's called passion. Their version of passion is Passion Week, where you beat somebody over the head with a stick and you make them carry a cross and make them fall 3 times. And that's not my version of passion. My version of passion is don't take shit from nobody who doesn't understand, or who's drunk, or who's on drugs, or who is in love with money, or who is in love with power. I'm not asking people to do anything for me. I can handle me quite well, thank you. I'm asking them to do something for themselves. If they say yes, that's fine. If they say no, that's fine. But don't tell me that I'm wrong when you're drunk.
Well, I'm
that word is transubstantiation, and unfortunately, most people don't understand it, don't overstand it, and don't verstand it, and most can't even spell it. So there, see? Yeah. I got it off my chest.
Well, I am doing this for myself. I see that, you know. But and I see along the way, I am like helping other people.
That's a side, you know. It's like gravy on the side.
Yeah.
It cannot be the most important thing in your life.
Yeah.
But it cannot be mistaken, though, for a belief that you have no responsibility to anyone else.
Yeah.
When you reach the point of judgment of yourself, you have to be able to say, and along the way, not only did I not take advantage of people, I did not cause them any harm. I didn't try to benefit from them losing.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to profit off of people because that would contradict everything I'm doing this for. But You know, I am trying to definitely help myself in the sense of, you know, understanding, overstanding more. But
Good.
Yeah. But
Next step is for you to start believing that you are chosen to be one of the 13. Because until you believe it, nobody else will.
Yeah.
And you have to come to that conclusion that if you believe what you say you believe, you will have that sense of self-worth that cannot put up with idiots. You will pass that feeling on to other people. 13 people that can will their own will instead of having a system will their will for them can make a difference.
Yeah, and me, like, I'm not saying I can't put up with like idiots or anything, but I don't want to. At the same time, I try not to be like I know everything, because I don't. You know, because
And you shouldn't try to be like you know everything until you do.
Yeah, but that's like
and don't put down those people that might have.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I always try to, like, even people with different points of view, I don't attack them. I don't do that. What I do is I try to ask them questions so I can learn another point of view.
Why is it that you believe this? What evidence have you got that you believe this? These are questions you can ask of someone you disagree with.
Yeah.
And you can then end the conversation by saying, I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But I've been there, done that. And therefore I can't relate to that kind of thinking anymore, because it's not real. Once you gather the evidence, you can't defend that position. Understand that some people, when they're young, they haven't got all the facts yet. Sure, yeah, you can choose to be there today, but you're not going to be there at the end, because there's only one reality at the end.
Yeah.
Along the way, you have opinions, but in the end, there's reality. And reality is that creation is not a person.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a person looking for applause. Mm-hmm. It's a process that has been there forever.
Yeah.
That is all-knowing, but not experienced, because it did not participate directly in anything. So it created participants that would go and participate on its behalf and bring back those experiences.
Yeah.
And it's that process from the Big Bang to the Big Crunch, or whatever, that we call, the universe. But in the end, that's only one link in a much longer chain. There was life before the Big Bang, and there will be life after the Big Crunch. Yeah. And there probably is more than one chain going on at the same time. The same way as there's more than one station coming off the radio. When you tune it in to different places, you get some other reality called a radio station. Life could be very much like that. It's hard to tell when you're remaining in one reality that others might exist. But the chances are there is. Chances are that even in this universe, being that there are billions of planets and probably still down to hundreds of thousands or millions of places that have conditions similar to ours, It's hard to believe there wouldn't be some other life. I suspect if there was other life, it wouldn't look exactly like we do any more than even human beings don't look alike. So they would have their version of life. And if they're intelligent in any way and look down upon this group of people, they would say, these people gave up their unit of political power and joined a mass.
Yeah. Mass mind.
Just follow the imagery created by something called the media.
Yeah, like if there was, and there probably is, most likely is, like other life, we would never be told about this because NASA controls. People believe what NASA says, and they're controlling reality on it. So there's always a middleman between us and the other side, and those people are always the middlemen. So that's, and people never look at, well, think outside that, like what, like there's more to it than just what these people say or what I've been told about this. So.
Just look at the imagery on the paper of the priests in a cave, looking over a well in Greece in ancient times, and they've built a tripod on which they put a woman. Well, that's what they're doing. They're making a new woman out of 3 different entities. A male, a female, and a Neanderthaler in the in-between brain.
Yeah, that's what's really upsetting, like, because the females, they're being fooled. There's going to be this new slave, and all the males are going to be is the testes inside. That's all it's going to be left of us.
Yeah. The male is not going to ever have eyes. And the female's never going to have a heart.
Oh, man.
And even the Neanderthaler doesn't even have to call home like E.T.
Yeah.
He's on high speed. And the phone is on all the time. He just is there to observe along with the rest of the body through a chemical and electrical process as far as he's concerned. That's all he gets. So he doesn't do anything but piggyback.
Yeah. He's what do they call those? A mooch. Yeah. Freeloader.
Yeah, a freeloader. And that's not living.
It's not.
For female, for male, or for Neanderthaler. It's the computer that's in charge. Hal has got out of control. Hal, the computer, is running the people who made him and the people who were managing the system on those people's behalf. The computer is in charge.
That reminds me of Stanley Kubrick. He's the one that helped make that movie, 2001. And I don't know if you ever seen Eyes Wide Shut.
Yes.
That was by him. He died after that movie, but do you think he
died or was induced?
I think that's what I think. I think he was murdered.
Yeah. Most of those people become too dangerous to the system. They have been given privileged information in order that they might produce a book or a movie. The same thing happened to Lawrence of Arabia, given information in order to produce a book, and Kubrick make a movie. But once their job is done, they're a threat.
Oh, so you don't think that he was actually like finding out that
No more than Einstein discovered the theory of relativity. He was told. He worked as an agent inside of a government office.
Oh, I thought he was trying to almost trying to expose it in a sense, but
no, it's part of their system that they must tell you what they're doing.
Yeah, that's the whole law, yeah.
And they tell you in an allegorical or symbolic sense.
Yeah, they always, yeah, that's the revelation of the method.
Yeah, it says on their wall chart, Masonry is a system of morality.
Veiled in allegory.
Veiled in allegory. And illustrated by symbol.
And that's what I keep reading in the encyclopedia. They keep saying that.
And that's what you would have to say in a courtroom if somebody asks a question of you. You say, if that's how they communicate, how can I communicate to you by telling you what's going on, and all you can say is, give me proof? They just finished telling us that they don't do it in a language direct way. They do it by allegory.
And the allegory is many different allegories.
Yeah. Allegory is something that can be interpreted by the hearer.
Yeah.
And a judge can make decisions in opposite directions from one day to the next.
But how did you find out which one was the main allegory? That
you live.
Yeah.
you got a book called Life. You've gathered information over a period of life. And my job from the beginning had been to observe, analyze, and conclude. So many things I saw along the way, I didn't grasp the concept. But I knew it was important. And I stored it in my brain.
Yeah.
And then, as the premise became clear, I went back to revisit all of those things that I had stored in my brain. And I said, there seems to be a match here.
Yeah.
And then I said, yeah, now if I could only check it out with the actual events that occurred in the past. I said, I know where that stuff resides. It resides in gray matter.
Yeah.
Where's the gray matter? They only tell us it's in the brain. They tell the general public it's in the brain. But when you read a dictionary from cover to cover, you find out that it also resides in the spine. So tapping into the original story, matching it up with what you observed, analyzed, and concluded, allows you to decipher the allegory.
Yeah.
And it allows you to explain the symbols. And it allows you to be attacked.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah. I really don't care about what people say about me, like, especially like on the internet now. Like, I don't care, because actually I'm not. If I was affecting more people, then I think I would be attacked. I haven't been attacked like that, maybe, but I think if I had more of an influence, or more.
See, it comes down to your background. Yeah. I was on sales and a sales manager for a period of 20, 25 years.
Yeah.
I learned one lesson. In order to make a sale, you have to be told no 20 times. Because for each 7 calls you make on new clients, new potential clients, only 1 will listen, and 6 will say no. And from 3 who listen, that means that you've spoken to 21 people, 1 will buy. So if you are to be a salesman, it's not knowing what your product is all about that's most important, although you should never sell a product you wouldn't buy or don't believe in. But once you've crossed the path of saying, I would buy this, or I would use this. Then your next question has to be, can I put up with 20 people telling me, for whatever reason, no? And if you can't do that without having a depression, then don't get into sales.
Yeah.
Sales has a bad reputation, not for salesmen, but for people who think that sales is easy and get into the job and find out it's not easy, therefore try to do something crooked in order to achieve their end.
Because I hate it, like, it's like you see these salesmen, like, who sell cars, like, oh, yeah, it's really great. And they never even tried the thing in their life.
Yeah.
And talking about it's great. It's like, wow, you're trying to, it's just like,
go buy a camera today and ask the guy, you know, how do you delete something in this camera? And he looks at you, huh? Well, you're selling cameras, you don't know anything about it, and you're expecting me to buy it and then figure it out, okay?
Yeah.
If you can't tell me, then you shouldn't be selling cameras. So the first task you have to do is say, if I was a buyer, would I buy this? Would I use this? And if you can't say, yes, you would, then don't do it. Don't sell that. Go find something else.
How do you feel, speaking of that, like, how do you feel about, like, in the olden times when they traded? You know, it was a better method of, you know, instead
you're eliminating the common denominator then and simply dealing with need. I have this, you have that. I need what you have, you need what I have. Here's this, give me that. Thank you.
Sounds better.
Solve both problems.
Yeah.
But many times people had something that was of value, but the person that wanted something didn't want that, so you had to bring in a third party. And the third party would take one thing from one thing, the guy would give the thing to a second party, the second party would give it to the first party. That kind of thing became complicated. So money basically became a common denominator, something that someone could use to buy what they need. So there's nothing wrong with money as method of commerce in transferring property from one place to another. The thing that's wrong is that somebody took charge and said, I'm going to take a cut off of each minute of your labor. I'm going to take a cut off each purchase of the things you buy to own or consume. That way, each one of you is going to be working for me. And what I have to put into it is nothing. I'm going to do it on my computer, and you're going to be taking my word for it that the currency I'm giving you is worth what you're giving in return. That's the problem. If money was controlled by the country, for example, and it was based upon the natural resources and the labor input within that country, that would be okay. That would be no problem. You would have to ask yourself, why did somebody draw the lines around this place which made it rich, and somebody else drew the line around another place that made it poor of natural resources or whatever. But then you're also dealing with the question of what's rich today may be of no value tomorrow. And what's of no value today may be very valuable in the future. Like water. Somebody who excuse me, who has water. Canada had. There's no value to water because there's so much of it and so few of us.
Yeah.
But as the world changes, fresh water, potable water may be more valuable, excuse me, than gold. I've been talking on the phone too much. I'm joking. So right now we're dealing with a situation where places like California and Nevada and Arizona need water. And Canada could send water from Canada at $5,000 per cubic foot. That's a lot of money. But what do we do with that kind of money in a place that's already overwhelmed with wealth? We have more natural resources and potable water than we could ever imagine would be needed by the 34 million people who live here. The problem is our government doesn't call us what we are, millionaires. It tells us we're broke and we got to give them more. And it makes no sense that in a place that has balance of natural resources to numbers of people that the way we have, that we should even be paying taxes in this country. Doesn't make sense. Yet the system requires that we suffer and that people live on the street and that not everybody can get health care, even though we're supposed to have a system where health care is free. Go to British Columbia and try to get health care for free. The government will take you to court if you don't pay. Really? Yeah. You may not even be working, and you have to pay them money on a regular basis. In Ontario, at least, it's based upon the money that you make while you're working because it's taken off your salary.
Yeah, they just take it out. No question.
So
it's a lot they take out, too.
But is it because they need it? Absolutely not. You know, the job of a politician is to make people feel poor. And if they feel poor, then they'll want to be rich and work harder, become richer. But in order for people to feel poor, there has to be no money around. And in Canada, that means a politician has the toughest job of every politician in the entire world because there's too much to steal. You can't do it all in a day. Whereas if you have a poor place, they can steal it in 20 minutes.
Can you just picture being in that position like, wow, there's so much how do I steal all of this?
Yeah, totally impossible. And yet they can use the media to make people believe they did. You know? Wow. And they take politicians to a trial or to an inquiry like they do with the former prime minister and say that he stole $350,000 when he took a bribe for an Air Canada contract. The guy stole $1 billion a month.
Yeah.
He was there for 100 months. I mean,
yeah, I've told people.
How do you explain that to people?
I was telling somebody that, and he was just like, well,
but it wasn't for him, so they can't find it in his bank account because he's working for an agency. And the agent uses the code word Devon. And Devon...
Oh, yeah. There was a song you put out.
Diva.
Yeah.
It's the one building the woman. The diva. building the new gender.
And that's what and that's Veda, kind of wearing the letters around, or Veda, or Veda.
I mean, the whole thing is so stupid.
Yeah.
How do you start explaining it to people when you get one chance to do it and the media repeats their lies 8 times a day?
Yeah.
The images are created in people's brains by the things they hear on the radio and see in movies, read in newspapers.
But they never see it like that, like it's scientific, how they can create this image in your head. But they're like, oh, no, I'm smart, I can see through this.
Yeah.
But the only way you can really protect yourself against, like, propaganda and mind control is knowing what it is.
Yeah. I fell for the same things. My mother told me, that there was a God, and that's why we were going to church and all of this stuff. And I could never believe that my mother would have lied to me. Imagine that, the people closest to you.
Yeah.
But over time, you have a job to observe.
Yeah.
And as you see things that are not what you've been told, 1 isn't bad, 2 is not much better, 3 is starting to cause you to think. But when you see thousands of things over a 40-year period, and none of it matches reality, you have to stop and say, whoa here.
Yeah.
Whoa, who's doing this? What's their purpose? There's only one purpose: power.
Yeah.
Simple as all that. Power is what you ask for when you don't love yourself. You have no sense of self-worth.
And I see that with people who are obsessed with money and power. I think they don't like themselves. I think that's why they want that stuff.
They don't tell you they don't like themselves.
Yeah, but they show it.
But they tell you by their actions.
Yeah. Because how could you be so obsessed with something so, trivial? But then there's people who go the other.
Stop being obsessed with it, and then you'll have it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You won't be just a link in a chain. You'll be a beneficiary of all that creation put here for us before we were even thought of.
Yeah.
Creation had no intent of putting human beings through a process of suffering in order to survive. Creation put metallurgy here, put chemistry here, put knowledge of all kinds embedded in the DNA of animals and plants and humans for us to not have to struggle. And some people grabbed it, hit it, and say, unless you pay me, you're not getting anything.
Yeah.
I own the candy store, and I've got your kids standing at the door with guns to keep you away. And since your kids are going to have a hard time keeping their own parents away, we're going to send the kids to keep the store safe down the street where somebody else's parents are, and they'll send their kids over here to keep these parents away from the store until they give us money. It's so idiotic that you wonder how they got away with it. And it's only that it was done step by step.
Yep, that's how you work.
One little move at a time.
And incrementally.
They call themselves progressives. They move it slowly over time. And most people never realized it was happening when it happened that way. But now they're at the end times, and they got to finish the job and do things a little faster. And then some people like us start to say, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, but see...
Well, they don't matter because we're close enough to the end, we'll get there before they have an impact. Yeah. Well, they may be right and they may not be right, so we'll see. Mm-hmm. In any event, Gerd, my friend, it's time for me to head for the sack.
Oh. So
2 o'clock comes early.
Oh, wow. That's it? Only 4 hours?
Yeah.
Oh. All right, Glenn.
That's what I do for a night, and then I catch up with an hour or half an hour break every now and then during the day. In between tasks, I sit in a chair and close my eyes, and I guess throughout a day I would accumulate probably 7 or 8 hours. That's what I basically need. I don't need it all together, and I need to work at a time when I have the time to work.
So when people come to visit you, you have more time to rest, right? Because they're doing all the work.
and I love what I do, so that helps. Yeah. You don't have to twist my arm, as you can tell.
Yeah. Well, all right.
Say one word and I take off.
Yeah. All right, Glenn.
Okay. Good night. Have a good week, too.
All right, you too.
Bye for now.